Welcome back to The Bridge on WSAV. You know, the air you breathe in your home can be healthy, or it can actually make you sick if it's unhealthy. Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today with our coastal expert, Bryant Dunn, who is the president of McCall's HVAC. Hey, Bryant, how are you?
Great to be here.
So, air purification in our home. So, what are some of the signs that our home might have an air quality issue?
The people in the home experiencing breathing issues or having problems, we've got to remove the home as a possible contaminant. You know, like people have these asthma tests to see what's causing a reaction. We want to remove the home from that equation. And the way to do that is to have a well-sealed, tight home with good air quality.
And some of the things that we would see, I guess, in the home during, like air quality issues, the specific things that we're talking about would be like mold.
Lots of dust, molds and mildews, which we've got to be careful because every house in Savannah, Georgia has mold or mildew somewhere. It's just a fact of life. But when we have people who have suppressed immune systems or who are just more sensitive to this type of thing, then we're talking to them. I mean, the people in the home are going to be the responders. The lady of the home who sees dust on furniture all the time after she's just dusted, that's an indicator. Your grills where the air comes out, if that's gotten moldy or dirty, that can be an indication.
So if you're having a little bit of respiratory issue or scratchy throat, something like that, it might not be specifically from maybe a germ you've picked up from being at the grocery store or somewhere out and about, or somebody coughed on you. It could actually be an air quality issue in your home.
I've seen it with kids where, you know, they always complain about the breathing issue or their throat hurts after they've been in the home for 7 hours or slept in the home. They go off to school, they play around, they're fine, they come home and in the morning their throat hurts. Okay, I start to suspect something going on in the home. And that's when I want to get in there and talk with the homeowner and do an assessment and see if we can find any of these triggers to a health issue in the home duct system.
So speaking of that, what can McCall's HVAC do? Because you perform tests and can tell if there's an air quality issue.
Yeah, air quality is tricky, but if there's bad air quality, there's a cause somewhere, and finding that cause, we'd need to come into the home and do a whole house assessment. We start off with a pressurization test. We try to blow the house up like a balloon, and we see its resistance to blowing up. The more resistance there is for us putting a pressure on the home, we know it's a tight home. If there's no resistance and we can't blow the house up like a balloon, we know the house is very leaky. Most of our air quality issues are in homes that are very leaky. We do have homes that are ultra tight that maybe have had spray foam or some of these air tightening methods, and we can assess those at the same time. So we typically have our home that's very tight that needs mechanical ventilation during much of the year because it's so tight, or we have a very loose home that's getting a lot of contaminant, asthma, or allergy producing things from the outside or getting inside. So we have to assess if it's a loose home or a tight home, and then have a scope of work to improve it depending on the type home we find.
Okay, so once a test is done or the testing is done and you do that assessment and you find that there is, you know, the home is experiencing some issues. So, you know, what can you recommend as far as bettering the situation in that home?
There are devices to treat the systems. Of course, best practices means that we go after root cause.
Okay.
So if we've got a hole in the ductwork under the house or a hole in the ductwork in the attic where something is broken apart and we're pulling in hot, wet, moist, humid air into our duct system, that's a root cause. We got to find that. And then the symptoms could be mold in the ductwork and the child having a sore throat. So there are air devices that we can purify the air with that will treat those symptoms, but we do truly want to go after root cause.
Now, air purifiers, now do these products that you're discussing, I mean, do they really work? Or?
They do now. I mean, there's been a lot of them throughout the years that didn't work so well in what I'd call snake oil.
Yeah.
You know, UV lights and all. A UV light is fine to shine on a surface and it'll keep that surface clean, but we're talking about a huge volume of air in a home where UV light will have zero effect on that. So now there are products out there that create an ion plasma that circulates in the home as the air conditioning system is on, and actually goes out with ions and activates and helps our filters be more efficient. So there are some great products now that use an ionization method that we highly recommend, as well as finding root cause. I love the combination of it, finding root cause and making the air better with a treatment device.
What about mold spores? Because we always hear about how awful mold is. Can air purifiers, can they remove that?
They don't remove it, they break it down at a genetic level to where the mold can't regrow. So the molds are kind of always there. We got to be careful with conditions that lead to mold growth. The spores are always there. So we got to keep it, we try to keep the home under 60% relative humidity. We don't want wet surfaces. And then with an air treatment device like we just discussed, putting this plasma of peroxide ions out into the space, that actually helps prevent the mold from reproducing.
And just keep in mind, you are doing you and your family a service by helping keep them healthy in the home with perfect air quality. I want to thank you, Bryant, for coming in and talking with us today about air purification. It's so important these days.
It is. It's part of making people healthy, happy, and comfortable, and that's what we do.
And thanks to McCall's HVAC, you guys are the experts in doing that.
Thank you, Natalie.
If you'd like more information on McCall's HVAC or any of our coastal experts, just check out our Coastal Experts page. You'll find that at WSAV.com.